I was in Ukraine when Russia invaded and I had COVID and I was sitting there in bed and hearing explosions, right? And it sucked. It was fucking traumatizing. And, it's had some negative effects on my life for the past year. I'm not comparing myself to the Buddha. I'm a fucking dog compared to him, right? Like, that dude is amazing in ways I can't even fucking describe. Hey guys, so this video is very interesting. It's about not taking women that seriously. And I actually did a take before this. And what I ended up doing in the video was that I spent the first like 10, 15 minutes trying to demonstrate, like, I know there's a lot of bad shit in this world when it comes to women, right? So I give examples of like crazy stories where crazy women have done things to either me or like people that I knew, or clients that I had. We're talking about like the worst stuff. Like I had a client whose ex-wife abused him, like legitimately. I have a friend who has gone through a divorce and the wife is totally trying to fuck him over. I've heard of stories of guys getting falsely accused of things. And I've seen guys get their reputations ruined and people trying to ruin, just ruin your image. Maybe not necessarily take claims to any big level, but like just try and fuck with your image. I've heard of girls like, girls at bars and clubs. I've seen girls like try to get guys to fight each other, like out of, I don't know, attention seeking. Maybe they're drunk or, I've seen the worst sides when it comes to women and what they're capable of. And I know there's a potential for like losing your life. Like there's someone in the world right now who's probably about to get killed because, they talk to the wrong girl or the girl wants to start some shit and then the guys start fighting and then a knife gets pulled out. And like, dude, I realize like there's a lot of dark shit in this world. There's a guy currently like crying because the wife is out of spite for him is going to make so that, you can't see his kids that often. And there's a guy getting falsely accused somewhere right now and, potentially facing jail time or just having to hire lawyers and defend himself. And, there's a woman attacking a man and he can't fight back because he knows that he's going to get arrested because it's very hard to, it's just, you see the guy and you see the girl and, a lot of people are going to side with the girl for X and Y reason. It doesn't matter. This isn't a culture channel, right? This is not a channel talking about, I'm not here to validate your beliefs on like, yeah, stand up for men's rights or, fuck women or, women are doing terrible things and men need to stick together and we're all brothers. We're not all brothers, dude. Anyone who's like selling you this shit, they're not your friend. Like I've seen a lot of these movements. These people are not there with you, right? They just happen to be going through some similar shit to you. So like you're a temporary friend, but like I don't know if these people would really back you up. Maybe there's genuinely good people out there who like bond through like bad shit happening, but I would be very careful to like start believing you're in a brotherhood with others who are believing the same things that you do. You're just temporary allies. And this is not the channel that is going to validate those beliefs. So if you're here for that, that's not what we're here for. And the title of this video is the opposite of that. The title of this video is to not take women so seriously, right? But I spent that first take of the video going into some stories to help illustrate the fact that I understand. I've either personally experienced, know someone who went through it, or had a client, because they're not a friend, they're just someone I'm coaching, but knew someone that went through some horrible shit with women. So I know the worst that is possible. Seen it all, or heard of it all. I recognize that there is darkness. But after I spent those 15 minutes, I was like, you know what? For a video that is trying to teach you to not take women so seriously, you really gave them a lot of reasons to take women seriously. Now, the point of it was that I wanted to let people know I'm not naive and to show that, right? But I spent so much time trying to show that, they ended up missing the point. So I'm redoing it right now. And I want to tell you that I get it, right? If you come to me with some shit that you've been through, I've either been through it or seen someone who's been through it or know someone, okay? And I'm sorry this happened to you. I have empathy for you and I have compassion for you. But at some point, the pity party has to end and we have to move on. So you have a thing that you have to ask yourself. And a lot of guys, they really haven't went through a lot of shit. Oh, I got friend zoned. I got used as a meal ticket. I got, she strung me along, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, it's still not good. I'm not going to downplay what you've been through. But it's okay. It's not that big of a deal, right? You haven't taken as big of an L as other people, which is not meant to diminish what you've been through. Because a rejection is still a rejection. Getting cheated on or whatever, it's still really hurtful, right? So I'm not downplaying the bad things you've been through. I'm just trying to put them into perspective, okay? Why is this video not to take women seriously? Well, because any other alternative is pretty much just doomed to end in you not liking women as much as you should and being depressed about this, because this is a dating channel. But I see so many dating channels these days, all they do is just focus on the negatives of women. How to not be a simp, how to not da-da-da, how to not da-da-da. And it's so much negative motivation, like, all these guys are getting fucked over, but you're not going to get fucked over. And I understand that sometimes you have to deal with those, right? I have videos of those. But I think it's so much more useful to just teach you the good stuff rather than threatening you with the bad stuff and telling you don't end up on that road. Those are called negative motivations, and they're very powerful. But you also need some positive motivations, or you're going to go into this dating thing and you're just going to be fucking like, and I even have some clients who are successful with women, right? This isn't just like lonely virgin nerd, incel, bitter with women. No, I know guys who are like fucked a bunch of girls and they still get upset like, oh, she flaked on me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, man, stop taking it so seriously. I've been there. I get it. I've been there. And after I fucked a bunch of girls, I was like, I'd get upset about a girl, da-da-da. And then weeks, months, years later, I'd look back and be like, why was I taking that so fucking seriously? In the moment, it's very difficult. But if you can fucking grab yourself and be like, wait a second, and you sober up and you go, okay, why am I taking this so seriously? What is causing the seriousness behind it? And ask yourself that question. I mean, deep down, if you really want to go into it, what's being threatened is your sense of identity, yourself, right? And that's being challenged. In the challenging of an identity is death, right? So at some point, that's why like a breakup or a divorce or rejection or like getting cheated on, these things can feel as bad as like losing someone or even yourself dying. Like I was in Ukraine when Russia invaded and I had COVID and I was sitting there in bed and hearing explosions, right? And it sucked. It was fucking traumatizing. And, it's had some negative effects on my life for the past year. But the fear that I felt during that time, or like the panic, it was extreme. But if I have to be honest, the anxiety and like panic that I've had after from like the PTSD has actually been worse. Kind of interesting to think about, right? And the upsetness, right? Just the general like sadness, disappointment, rejection that I felt from, rejections in the past and, a girlfriend cheating on me or breaking up with me, felt close to as bad as having a fever, being sick, so my nervous system's getting fucked. And then on top of that, I'm questioning if I'm about to explode into a million pieces because an artillery shell is going to land on me. And I had an actual artillery shell like fly over my head, dude. I heard it go like in Call of Duty, like you hear that. And it hit like less than 500 meters away. So, and when that happened, I was just like, one of my first thoughts was, oh shit, that really just happened. And then like one of the subsequent thoughts was, oh yeah, Call of Duty is pretty accurate. Or like all those like war games, I'm like, yeah, that's it. The whistle, yeah, that's it. Right? Then the fear kicked in, right? But the fear and the panic of like after and the PTSD or like the sadness and rejection that I felt over the years from like girls has been just as bad as that. Very interesting to think about. So even when like actual death was threatening me, the pain of the heart was actually just as great or even greater in some cases. Real fucking interesting, right? So why you're taking dating and relationships so seriously is because it feels like death. Is your identity is being actually threatened. And so that's something that's what Buddhism teaches us, right? Like the source of all suffering is craving. And craving at its fundamental point is either craving to feel good or craving to not feel bad, to push away pain. And then once you overcome that, the final step to becoming enlightened is getting over the craving to have an identity. And once you get rid of the craving of an identity, you're fully enlightened. Like it's the last like barrier that stops you from being an arahant, a fully enlightened being, just like the Buddha was. And so identities are so fucking powerful in our lives, right? That's why people are willing to, fight and die for causes and politics. Obviously, there are actual survival aspects behind it, right? But even like the body, like wanting the body to exist, we think that this is who we are. But this isn't like This isn't, this isn't a Buddhism video, right? As much as I would love to talk about that and you might be interested in it. It's not the whole heart of it. I just wanted to give you a hint of why you're taking things so seriously and why men can be so angry with women and take women so seriously. Is because there's a bunch of identities behind it. You see women acting in certain ways to other guys. You may not have even experienced it so much, but you see these horror stories, and horror stories are very, very like, they're in your face. They're like, ah, rah, rah. And they take your attention. But if you can you can force yourself not to look at them for a second and kind of just evaluate the situation, you realize that it's more of a manipulation tactic of your mind that's playing games on you. There is horror in this world. There are horrible things. I'm not denying that, right? I'm just saying that they're not really worth as much attention as you're probably giving them. And it's not to downplay what you've went through either. Like, yeah, it sucks. Getting rejected. Even just a simple, like, hey, you're cute. Yeah. The look on her face is kind of like she'd rather fuck the rat in the sewer below her feet than, let you touch her with a 10-foot pole. That's how it feels. I get it. But really, that was just an identity being threatened. I'm not the thing you are rejecting. That's not who I am. You think I'm worthless? I'm not worth spending a single second on? Like, I get it. I fucking get it, dude. I've felt that rage before and that disappointment. Everyone has, man and woman. We're in this together. We're all suffering. And one of the best ways you can stop suffering, or at least diminish it, enough to help you on your journey for dating and relationships, right? Because this is not a Buddhism channel that's teaching you how to be enlightened, right? This is a dating channel. So I'm teaching you how to get the results that you want, whatever it is. You want a bunch of girls, you want a harem, you want 10 girls sucking your dick at the same time. Do you want one girl, you want a wife and kids? I don't fucking know, dude. Go for it. As long as you're being honest and you're being kind, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you're honest and you're kind, and you don't purposely try to hurt someone, or you don't lie to someone, or you don't sleep with someone who has a boyfriend or a husband, you're fine. Go and do whatever the fuck you want. If you are not magnetized and drawn into the darkness of taking things too seriously, you're gonna fly, because you'll just have the own weight of your body. You won't be carrying this backpack of all this, like, oh, I've seen this video, all these girls, all these rejections I've fucking experienced. Now, you can't just let it go. Telling you to let go is stupid, right? You have to see that letting go is okay. It's a very different two philosophies. Just telling you to let go, if that worked, then the Buddha would have came to the world and said, let go. Okay, everyone's, you have to actually see that letting go is okay. So what I want you to do to not take women so seriously, because it's just going to make you fly. You're not going to get, rejections are going to come in and they hurt, just like waves coming into the shore. They're going to come in, yep, I feel rejected, and then they're going to go, and you're good, and you just go on to the next girl, and the next girl, and the next girl, and the next girl, or, it's a rejection. And then that wave stays a long time because you got cheated on, and so it keeps coming back. Oh, that hurts, that hurts, that hurts, that hurts. Watch these feelings, watch your traumas, your rejections, whatever they are, that create heaviness. You take girls so seriously, you take girls so seriously, you take girls so seriously. Now, I'm not a fully enlightened being, okay? So I can't give you the perspective of someone who is an arahant. That's what this tattoo means. I'm hoping to get there one day, right? But it means you're fully enlightened, right? I'm not there, so I'm not a perfect ambassador of this philosophy. But I am a master of seduction and of dating, and I fucking know my shit when it comes to relationships, okay? So on this, I can speak with authority. These women that you're upset about, they're all replaceable. I don't care how beautiful or how amazing she is. Whatever it was about her, now I'm not diminishing her identity, okay? I'm not saying that she doesn't have some special value. What I'm saying is there's nothing within that special value, these conglomerations and bundles of personality traits and actions and the way she smiles and the way she walks, the way she sucks dick, the way she, makes you feel. All of these things, what you feel like you wanted and what you're in love with and what you feel like you lost, right? So just a simple rejection to like the love of your life sucking your best friend's dick, and you find a video of it and then you're devastated. Like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of the fucking worst thing ever, right? All of that range, it sucks. But all it's doing is threatening an identity of yours, which that's really difficult, right? That's high level fucking Buddhism. Like monks would struggle to properly, very advanced monks who've been doing this for decades would struggle to properly let go of these things, okay? That is difficult. But what I can do is I can tell you that these problems that you've encountered, whatever it was that you wanted about her, you can find it in someone else. Undeniably. I don't care how special she is. There is someone that is as cool or probably better. Maybe they have less of like, they're not as funny as she is or whatever, but they have a fatter ass, or, you know, they're kinder. Maybe they're not as funny, but with that funniness comes like, you know, what made her so funny? Some fucking trauma and darkness, right? This girl's less funny, but she's much kinder, and you'll actually be happier in that relationship. Whatever, you know, you can always, women are replaceable. People are replaceable because you aren't this thing, right? But, you know, and how does that make you take it less seriously? Well, of course it makes you take it less seriously. Because if it's not an impossible thing to replace, then why is it worth all of your attachment? Right? The reason you're attached to it is because you believe that you can't get it again. Or you can't get something similar to it. Or maybe you know you can get it, but the effort that it would require sounds shitty. And you don't want to have to go, you know, like, you know, let's say you're 35, 40 and you just went through a divorce. You're like, fuck, I don't want to go through all this fucking dating shit again. Da, 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 da. Well, that's okay. If you believe that, that's fine. That's okay. But if you allow that to continue to worry you, then you have to ask yourself, am I not taking action to go out and get girls because I'm scared of putting in the work, or I'm scared that these girls aren't replaceable? That's an incorrect view. If you don't want to go and chase women because you don't see them as worthy of your time, right? You would rather go be a monk and pursue a spiritual goal of enlightenment. Okay, that's fine. You know, but that's also not taking women seriously. It's just like, yeah, they're not that serious. They're not worth all this time in this struggle. So I want to go find enlightenment. Okay, great, good shit, right? Taking women seriously is giving them too much value in this world. And this is fucking rich coming from a guy who makes a living off of teaching guys how to get girls. But it's the truth. They're not that serious. It's not that big of a deal. But that's very hard to realize. I get it. I'm not telling you this is easy. Because I struggled with it for a long time. Now I don't take women seriously. But it took a long time to do that. It took a long time to get there. But I've been to that place and I can look back and say, hey, it's possible, right? Just like an enlightened being, right? Like the Buddha gets fully enlightened and he's like, hey guys, it's really not that big of a deal. Death, sickness, age, it's okay. It's not a big deal. You've been doing it forever. But if you want the way out, you got to do some work. And it's gonna suck, but it's worth it. But I've done it. So come on, get over here, right? So I'm not comparing myself to the Buddha. I'm a fucking dog compared to him, right? Like that dude is amazing in ways I can't even fucking describe. But I'm just trying to tell you, I'm an authority on not taking women seriously because I took women seriously for so long and then I learned not to, right? But I understand there's a lot of reasons to take them seriously, or you believe there's a lot of reasons, okay? Just don't be stupid. You know, be vigilant, watch out for the crazy bitches, right? Learn to see signs of them, but don't expect every girl to be crazy, okay? Because the media and the horror stories you see on red pill, black pill, MGTOW, blah, 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 they're gonna make you think women are one way, but the vast majority of women are just pretty cool. I'm not saying they're great people, but they're just like pretty normal, whatever. They're not gonna do anything to seriously fuck you up. So, and even if you do go into that, then reflect on those experiences and just realize the only thing they really wasted was your time. And it's a precious resource, and I get it. But if that time can be transmuted into a lesson, then it's worth it. So stop taking women so seriously. They're cute, they're pretty, they're fun, they're sexy. You know, they got titties, they got ass, they got pussy. They can make a nice life partner of yours. You can have kids with them, you know, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, is it really worth all this stress that you put on it? Well, only to the extent that you want them, right? Because if you do want to get girls, you got to go out and practice and talk to them and get rejected a bunch and da-da-da. You are taking them seriously to an extent that it's worth like putting in effort to get them. But only take it seriously to the extent that you believe it's worth the effort. And once you get into like being angry with women and being bitter towards women and hating women, anything like that, you've taken it a step too far. And there's nothing profitable about taking them seriously to that level. So do what's profitable. Do what is skillful. Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. My voice, I'm losing it. I've done like a bunch of videos in a row. So check out my description. I got a bunch of shit you can buy. If you want to do personal coaching, check it out. Also in the description, we can have a 10-minute consultation call. and see if coaching is right for you. So stop taking women seriously and stop taking yourself so seriously. But I get it. It's very hard to do. Easier said than done. But start trying. If you put in the work, you'll get the results. All right. Ciao.